Happy lunch hour, guys. All right. So, ever since the beginning of this channel, I have talked about the World Economic Forum and the way that they're trying to get us to move into the cities. Okay. You'll own nothing and be happy, live in the sardine cans. We talked about over a year ago about all the new apartment complexes and skyscrapers and things like that going up in every city, and you guys have sent me countless emails on, oh my God, I never even paid attention to it, but yes, there's apartments going up all over the place. You know, the cities, they're just trying to move people in the cities, move people in the cities. You know, we've got to stay greener. You know, we've got to let the country let the world go back to its natural state, and we need to be confined to all these little, you know, tight places and let nature do its thing. You know, genetic food and all this sort of crap. All right. Then, of course, you get Bernie Sanders and all the other democratic socialists. Yeah, right. Okay. You know, vote your way into it. Can't vote your way out of it. Uh, saying, oh, we need to take the examples of Scandinavia and how democratic socialism works so well and all this sort of crap, you know, with the 60% tax rates, you know, and everything like that. So, you know, the government gets richer and the people get poorer. Oh, they're so happy and everything like that. Right. They're not happy. They just have to deal with it. So maybe it's time that Bernie and Joe and AOC and everything like that get caught up with the things that their glorious utopian countries are pushing. Okay? Well, this kind of all ties together. You know, we hear this renewable energy and move into the cities and electric cars and all this sort of, you know, BS. I'm going to give you this. In Norway, okay, which is, you know, Bernie's, again, utopia, their grid energy is pretty damn clean, okay? You know, 92% comes from hydroelectric generation. The rest of it's a mix of wind and solar and, you know, other sort of stuff like that. So more power to them. You know, let's leave out the fact that the United States has 100 times the population, but, you know, no big deal there. But so, okay, so they're living on their green energy with their 3 million some odd population. They own electric cars like crazy. Okay, since the give you this in 2021, 2/3 of the cars on the road that were or 2/3 of the cars that were purchased in 2021 in Norway were EVs. Okay, good for them. You know, there's all sorts of incentives to buy an electric vehicle over there. You know, most of the roads are toll roads, and if you know you pay your tolls based on your carbon tax or whatever it would be. And the tolls are a lot less for an EV than they are for a internal combustion engine. So people can save money that way too. You know, incentives. You know, Norway wants to a point where come 2025 there will be no internal combustion engines on the road. Okay, good. Well, here's the problem that they're coming up with now. Norway is now, after pushing everybody to go out and buy their Teslas and all this sort of stuff, you know, their electric vehicles, their Chevy Volts and their Priuses and all this sort of crap, they're having a problem that pollution isn't going down. How could that be? Okay. So now they are asking all their people, mind you, they have 1/100th, 1% of the population that the United States has. They are asking the people to start parking their EVs and start using public transportation. Why? Because there's a pollutant bombshell called tire particulates. Now, What would that be? Well, y'all have a car. Hell, there's 1.4 billion cars on the road in the world, okay? And your average car has 4 tires. So what does that make? 5.6 billion tires? Let's not even include 18-wheelers or dualies or anything like this. All right, so, we're probably talking 10 billion tires on the road around the world. And tires wear out. As you go down the road, tires wear out. You look and drive along and you see skid marks, and that's rubber that's been left on the road. Well, they have a big tire particulate pollution problem, which according to them is 100 times worse than the pollutants that come out of an exhaust pipe. Or I'm sorry, it's 1,000 times worse. My mistake. 1,000 times worse than the pollutants that come out of the tailpipe from a combustion engine, okay? As they put it, as tires break down under the rolling forces, the weight, the turning, the braking, and driving around, they shed particles of rubber and plastic compounds, which of course then get into the waterways and get into the microbial food, that the microbial organisms eat, and that the fish then eat, that eventually we eat. And so now there's all this pollutant here from the rubber from tires that's 1,000 times worse than the pollutants from a car, or an internal combustion engine. So they want everybody to go to public transportation. Well, there's one little problem with doing something like this, in the United States at least. That's 100 times the population, and around me, there is no public transportation. Hell, there's no cabs, let alone that I could take. There's no Uber that I could take, okay? I have no choice. But if I want to go anywhere, y'all know the store's a half an hour away, I have no choice but to drive. Now, you could say, we'll get a bicycle, get a motorcycle. No, rubber tires still, same problem, okay? They wear out. You're going to have this. So this is the latest. So as Joe is trying to push everybody to electric vehicles that we have no way to fuel in the United States, feasibly impossible, okay? I told you before, you'd have to cover Nevada and Utah with solar panels just to generate enough power to do the cars, let alone everything else. This is 1,000 times worse. So what are we going to do? Are we going to now have cars without tires? That will be real interesting. That would be our flying cars. Hover cars, whatever it would be. So again, it's going to be move yourself to the city because it's what's right for the world. You need to reduce your carbon footprint. Don't drive your car anymore. Not because it's an internal combustion engine. You don't have those anymore. Don't drive your Tesla anymore. Don't drive your Ford Focus anymore, your Chevy Volt anymore, because you're doing 1,000 times the damage with that car than you were with your other car. So we don't want you to use those either. Please, buy your horse now. Be ahead of the crowd. And hey, you can always help with the fertilizer issue because manure. Just don't buy a cow because of those farts. Pinball out.